write a passage.
Put this into 6.
If all angles in a triangle...
In May 2007, we filmed the lives of 4 Year 8 pupils at Hove Park Secondary School near Brighton. Robert, Louise, Bradley and Jack. The 4 documentaries can be seen on the Teachers TV website.
Today was different.
We asked a number of leading practitioners to watch the films and give us their frank opinions about the issues raised by this unique insight into the learning experience. This programme focuses on combating pupil boredom and asks whether boys need a different education to girls.
Ask any child what they think of school, they'll always say the same answer: it's boring. What's the worst thing about X, Y, Z? It's boring. What's the worst thing about Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so? They're boring. It's the most overused word, which often is a cover-up for a whole raft of other things.
In the mornings, I'm completely drained of my energy, completely. It's just, oh God, school, what am I going to do?
Pupils don't come on the whole wanting to be bored. And all of the pupils in those films, they all said that they knew when they learnt something, and by and large, they want to be in a position where they're engaged and they're learning.
The child doesn't have the problem because they can't learn it, but I have a problem as a teacher because I haven't actually hit the button in the right place. I need to do something differently because same old's not going to do it.
It's like evil teachers, like evil vampires sucking your brains out and stuff.
Go!
Good teaching is about a variety of activities. It's about having a mix and match and loads of different styles on your palette. Now, that style isn't going to appeal to everybody, so you don't use it all the time.
Is it equilateral, is it isosceles, or is it scalene?
Scalene!
We seem to be obsessed in this country that the best sort of seating is children sitting in twos facing forward. I don't know who said that and why we have to stick to that. I would change my classroom format round depending on who I was teaching what to. We just need to play around with our classrooms and be a bit braver.
The angles in a hexagon all add up to 720 degrees.
There needs to be more use of different teaching strategies in terms of speaking and listening. Okay? Teachers stand out in the class and go, who knows the answer? Nobody learns anything. There should be more paired discussion, more group discussion, more movement around the classroom. It's an area of British education where we've come up with some really good stuff, and it's a shame to see everybody relying on teacher stands at the front, ask a question, and no one learns anything.
Teachers have to learn how to put children into groups, into pairs, how to break the lesson up, how to show a video for only 8 minutes, not 40 minutes. So just drawing on a range of techniques and a range of media, not relying entirely on one, I think would save a lot of teachers from themselves and pupils from boredom.
I have a word I call flash to bang, a flash to bang theory. Flash, they come in the classroom, bang, you start work. That's what gets everyone into the idea of what's happening. Short, sharp, bang, finished, degree of competition, degree of confusion to arouse curiosity. Why are we doing this? What's it about? Then you reveal the answer. And in a sense, the plenary at the end needs to be short, sharp in terms of what do we learn this lesson. Now, it could be turn to your partner and you've got 30 seconds to explain 3 things you understood from this lesson. Stop. 30 seconds back to the other person. Now, did anyone give their partner more than 8 out of 10 for their explanation? Work to the clock or to a stopwatch with a whistle. 3 minutes, go, stop. 3 minutes, go, stop.
They take you to a foreign country.
Jack and Louise had very different opinions about the same history lesson.
Everything that's familiar to you has gone.
History by miles is definitely my favourite lesson.
I don't think we need to write today because it's Friday afternoon, but we need to use our thinking, we need to use our sympathy.
In history, we learn about the slave trade about how they sold the slaves on, like, inspecting them and all that. And I love stuff like that.
You are going to do your own slave auction. So let's get into groups with a bit of space.
In my history book, I haven't hardly filled up any pages, and all the girls in the class are kind of expecting a bit more, sort of, more writing and stuff, because I think that's how you learn most of it.
We should do a woman and a man.
Can I be that? Who's gonna?
I'll be the guy that comes up and checks.
Well, he liked it because it was active, and that's obviously his preferred learning style. And he got a lot of fun out of it. He got a lot of positive reinforcement from the teacher about his group and how well he was doing. I didn't see him actually get to the stage of learning anything. I saw him enjoying it. So whether he did learn a great deal through that method, I'm not absolutely sure.
Jack, you come from that way because the stair. Jack, you need to got that.
I think the boys in the class, they like all the role plays, not having to write much and stuff. And I think that's what the teachers are doing, because they're just appealing to the boys most of the time, because that's the easiest way. You know, you just do a role play, but actually it's not teaching us anything at all.
There's really no concrete learning that's taking place or being recorded. So whilst the lesson, I think, was a perfectly good way of engaging the kids, and I think they learned quite a lot out of it, the fact that there's no written activity to cement it means that, you know, they have no record of their achievement, and what they've done will be forgotten.
Now, it's interesting that Louise didn't like the history role play. She's obviously likes a formal academic style of schooling, likes to progress in a paperwork fashion, and she rightly pointed out the boys like role play because it doesn't mean they have to do any writing.
Guys, someone's gonna buy me! Feel free to come and inspect this. Feel free. Thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Absolute silence. Girls, you did well. Everybody has done really well. Now,
Louise needs an academic education, and she is aware that she's not receiving it. So whilst the drama activity is perfect pedagogic sense, it has to be followed up by some degree of academic rigour, which involves an extended writing activity.
Active teaching does not mean you lose the rigour. It just means it's done in a style that's got pace, it's got variety, it's got rhythm. It's done in a way that children get a chance to contribute. They can join in, say things, move around, get the answers, but at the end of the day, they know they are learning something and consolidating their knowledge, and they can see it.
If the pupils don't know why they're doing it, and they don't see the purpose in it, and they don't have an opportunity to reflect on what they've done, then it can be a complete waste of time. But I think the advantages of role play is that they enable pupils who aren't necessarily achieving in other ways to find a way in which they can get involved in the topic and then want to learn more.
any other thoughts? Can you put your hands up? We've got a hand over here.
You feel confused because they're all speaking a different language.
Yes.
You hear this guy rambling on next to you when you're being sold.
Brilliant. Well done. Well done, AA. Give yourself a clap. Can we have a furniture back?
Fun is a very important part of effective learning, but we mustn't fall into the trap of thinking that if a lesson's fun, it's a good lesson just because it's fun, because children will do all sorts of things that are fun that aren't around learning. Metacognition, which is thinking about thinking, is becoming very popular in some schools who are working on developing children's what we call higher order thinking skills. And the ability for young people to reflect on their own learning and to draw out some of the key points is really important.
So I enjoy my day the most when I'm learning most, because I probably wouldn't say that in front of all my friends and stuff, but you know, it does sort of make me happy to think that I am getting somewhere and stuff. And I think it's the same with most kids.
What these films have showed is this very interesting diversion between how girls prefer to learn and boys prefer to learn. For boys, the desk is basically the enemy. It's the enemy of all learning, whereas girls actually like to be sedate in, you know, concrete, structured, written activity.
What we mustn't do is approach it with as a blunt instrument and start just saying, right, boys will do this, girls will do that. There can be as many boys in between who prefer to learn like the girls do and girls who like to learn like the boys do as either end of the spectrum. But It is about addressing those needs more accurately.
There are things that are effective for some boys. Yes, the research has shown that, so I'd be stupid to kind of fly in the face of certain research. However, do we limit boys by, pandering to, only using certain strategies?
The teachers normally ask me about sitting down a lot, but I don't. I just normally keep getting up and down, up and down, up and down. PE is my favourite lesson, and the reason why is because I get to do it with my friends, and it's not just writing all the time, sitting down, because you get to run about in it.
Pretty standard boy thing. My eldest son, we call him Kineto Boy. He has a complete and utter inability to sit still on a chair.
First 2 people to get caught go on next round.
There was lots of rolling about, listlessness, fidgeting. All knew that they had difficulty sitting down, couldn't sit still, didn't like to pay attention, didn't like anything too much writing. All classical signs of what boys are like. Then there's Louise, articulate, facing the camera, very capable of putting into words how she feels about her direct experiences at school. No fidgeting, no lolling on the bed. It's just an interesting scenario, and one in which you do wonder if the diamond system of boys together at primary school and then separated for the first part of secondary, then put together back for sixth form or college would actually work quite well.
I don't want to go.
Right. I don't think boys and girls should necessarily be taught differently. And I don't think, I was head of an all-girls school and I was deputy head in an all-boys school. And actually the biggest difference between the schools was not the gender of the pupils. There are other differences. Class is one, ethnic backgrounds, all make differences in the way pupils respond. So the gender divide is probably just the most obvious.
In the sea.
Does that mean that we separate girls and boys out because they sometimes require different things? Well, the evidence suggests that that is going to disadvantage boys, actually, more than it disadvantages girls, because when that happens, the civilising influences of girls sometimes results in boys having less effective learning. I also think that from a social point of view, it's quite important for girls and boys to grow up kind of coexisting, because that's life, isn't it?
I don't think boys are more difficult to teach than girls. I don't think you can make those kinds of broad generalisations. And certainly my experience in an all-girls school, I felt that quite often girls behaved like boys to fill the space that boys had left behind. So you get quite... girls that are quite assertive, even aggressive, that they might not have acted like that in a mixed school.
Some of the best lessons I've observed have been very mixed ability lessons involving boys and girls, in terms of the most inspirational, outstanding lessons that I've seen ever in my career. And I think the message of that is that we don't achieve the outcome we want by splitting out boys and girls. We do it by designing really inspirational learning experiences that can include everyone.